The world champion Gukesh Domaraju is there with his second and trainer Gregors Gaevsky, and together they are just getting into the groove before the game. We are at the Super Rapid and Blitz 2026, day 1 of Blitz. Gukesh comes to the board. He's taking on the World Championship challenger Javokhir Sindarov. It's going to be their second game here. The first one in the Rapid ended in Gukesh's favor, but now it's Sindarov who has the white pieces. Oh, in the Rapid as well, he has white, but this is Blitz now. And Gukesh gets all of his pieces in order. What an exciting clash this is. And there you see Javokhir coming in. These two youngsters full of energy, full of positivity, on the board. Tremendously aggressive. You will never ever think that they will agree to a short draw. And this is what the chess world is going to enjoy so much towards the end of the year. But these battles that they are having are actually a precursor, or you can say a trailer to the main movie. As Sindarov comes in, he definitely would not be happy with the loss that he had in the Rapid. You could also see Gukesh there fist pumping when he won, and today Sindarov would want the revenge. And both the players calming themselves down before the game, as there's a huge crowd, by the way. Look at Gukesh in his meditative pose. He's been doing this since a very young age to just get into the zone before the game. And we're playing inside the Pauline Museum, where the auditorium can host more than 500 people. And there you see, this is how it looks. It's amazing. The players are ready, and 3 minutes plus 2 seconds increment, that's the time control here. And look at them, both of them ready for the battle. A handshake, and off we go. Pawn to e4, e5, knight to f3, knight c6, and we have the Italian with bishop c4, bishop c5. Sindarov plays knight c3, which is slightly less common than putting your pawn on c3, but d6 played. And by the way, this line, if you look in the mega database, you will see Javokhir Sindarov has played so many games. It's his pet line, maybe a line that he played as a kid. h3. It's very simple, it's very symmetrical. a5, just gaining some space, making space for the bishop to go back. And now bishop e3 played, bishop a7, castles, castles, and Javokhir pushes the pawn forward with d4 right into the center. This is what white wants, basically. White wants this break in the center so that he will have a pawn on e4 as compared to a pawn on d6. When black takes, it'll have you'll have more space. And Gukesh takes his time here. So I think this is a key moment, whether you want to take, you don't want to take, let white take on e5. Many questions that need to be answered here. For example, a move like rook e8 trying to put pressure here would already be met with d, would not be that good. So ed, knight d4, and you can see Gukesh down to 3 minutes 48 seconds. Sindarov has 4 minutes 25 seconds. And knight to e5, attacking the bishop on c4. The bishop drops back to a2. And now goes rook e8. We have rook to e1, just improving the position. Sindarov and Gukesh here plays pawn to c6, taking control of the d5 square. Javokhir starts to think now. Okay, f4 is definitely something you could play potentially, but think about it. The e4 pawn does become a bit soft. So do you want to play f4 or not is a question. Maybe you want to wait with it, not rush into it, because that's an option you will always have. But at the same time, like, even though white is looking really well developed in all ways, it's difficult. Like, if not f4, what? He goes queen e2, and now Gukesh brings his knight back to g6. We have rook a d1. The rook comes into the center, and Gukesh now can play pawn to a4, gaining more space. You can't take this because I'll take on d4, and then the knight would be hanging here, or even knight a4. The e4 pawn is hanging. So by the way, taking this pawn here is bad because of take, and boom, Jawokir always very very sharp with his tactics, and so Gukesh cannot really win the pawn on e4. So Gukesh here plays queen e7, but that's a blunder because knight f5 is a very powerful move that Sindarov has played. And actually queen e7 is a huge mistake because now take. Now look at what's happening. The knight is hanging. The bishop has opened up. This is also a tension to think about. And the d6 pawn is weak. So Gukesh's move queen e7 was very bad. Like, after this, he is in big trouble. Let's look at the move knight h4. Then we have queen c4 attacking the knight. And you might think, oh, knight takes f5 works. But then bishop a7, queen takes e1, rook takes e1, rook takes e1, king h2. And then you take here and you have two rooks for the queen and two minor pieces. It all looks fine, but after queen f7 check, king h7, the king is just too weak. Something like bishop e6, and white is actually in a dominating position. Bishop c4, bishop d3. There's a lot of problems and issues that are happening here. So queen e7, knight to f5, takes. Suddenly the knight can't go to h4. If you think about knight f4, I simply take here, my queen is protected, so that's not happening. Knight e5 is the other square where you want to go to, but after take and f4 you simply lose a piece. Incredible how the knight is lacking squares. Do you go to h8 or f8? These are the only two logical squares left. But Gukesh goes knight f8, and Sindarov, boom, takes it on a7. He's so quick. He did not even think about it. Knight e2. Presses the clock, rook a7, and boom, rook takes d6. And now Gukesh is pawn down, and he is in big trouble here. Rook takes d6. He brings his knight back to d7. He's hoping to hold this position, but the problem is not just the pawn, it's also this bishop. It's incredible. Jawokir goes f3, king f8, king f2, brings the king in. Now king e7 to attack this pawn, this rook on d6. He first goes rook 8, boom, g4. King knight b6 played. And well, Gukesh can hope to create a blockade here on d5 to limit the bishop, but even that blockade is not so solid because c4 can always kick the knight away. Jawokir comes back with the rook, and one of the good plans here is h4 and g5. This is the main plan in the position. Knight f d5. And knight to g3 may be a possibility, or Sindarov just goes c4, that's also possible. Jawokir rightly taking his time. He has 2 minutes on the clock, while Gukesh down to 1 minute 23 seconds. And you can always see Jawokir kind of playing around with that pawn in his left hand. See there, just swiveling it all the time. Knight to g3, a wonderful move. You know, sometimes it feels like one of the players will get the edge in the world championship match because of just the victory that they may score or something like that, but it does feel like both of them have so much confidence in them, it's not going to impact them. And rook e8 played by Gukesh. I think it's time to push the pawn forward, g5. But Jawokir, bit circumspect, goes knight e2. And now Gukesh comes here, c4, pushes the knight away. And sometimes I think Jawokir has his move ready, for what the opponent's going to play. Like, he's so ready for what to do. And now g5. Okay, by the way, c5 played. Wow. Very interesting. The knight must come to the center of the board. There's nowhere else to go. I mean, going to c8 is just so sad. So come here to the center, and the problem is I'm going to push g5 then to remove your defender. And after takes, now knight h5 sets a small trap, because after take, rook d5 is met with rook e2 and knight f4. However, at this point I'm no compulsion to take this pawn, and something like knight c3 is just winning the game. So going to h5 sets a small trap, but I'm pretty sure that Jawokir, once he sees it, he won't fall for it. So Gukesh goes knight d7, but now after take, remember that Gukesh already a pawn down, he loses his second pawn, king e7. And knight to d4 played, bringing the knight into the center. Gukesh hoping to get some counterplay. After all, in Blitz, mistakes do happen. Rook h8. But Sindarov has more than a minute on the clock, and c6 is such a good move. Also notice how these pawns take away all the squares from the king. Takes, check, has to go back king e8. There's no other move left, otherwise you lose the knight. So takes, and there is a mate here, and Jawokir Sindarov wins. Gukesh resigns the game. What a dominating performance there by Jawokir as he equalizes the personal score. Gukesh has one win in the Rapid and Sindarov has one win in the Blitz. The final game will be played tomorrow. Sindarov just leaves without any emotions, and well, a great win for the Uzbek Grandmaster.